Alright, hello everyone. So today's video is about screen scraping using APIs rather than UI components like we did in the last one for Best Buy screen scraping. So the target of this video will be Binance.com. So in this case we're going to be looking for coins that become available for staking. So here are two cases. So we can look at ERN coin right here on Binance, which shows that it's sold out. And at the same time we got CELO for available staking. So what we're trying to do is keep refreshing this page essentially, or the API, until this ERN coin becomes available for staking like this. So it goes from sold out state to stake now. Right, so in this case though, we're not going to be looking for like a button that turns yellow or not, like in the Best Buy case. We're going to be looking at the API itself. Alright, and so let's go to our developer view in the browser, and we're going to look at, so you want to go to network tab here and go to the fetch or XHR, which will get you kind of the REST API calls that the browser is making against the server. Let's do a quick search for ERN and we'll see the REST call that it's making. So you can see here it's made a request to the server saying give me the kind of the status for ERN coin, and the response is like so. So let's expand these. This is JSON response, by the way. So typically all APIs now are JSON response structured, and I'm gonna actually just grab this whole response, this JSON response, and then let's go to pretty print this thing so we can get a better look. So this is just this ugly mess of a string and prettified in the JSON format. So you can see the way it's structured is it's got these projects, 3 projects, and each one of these projects represent the let's go back to the browser, the 10 days, 30 days, and 60 days of staking period. And the field of interest for us is this one right here called sellout. And I just discovered that just by looking at the fields and reading it and comparing it to one that isn't sold out, like say I think cake wasn't sold out. So you can see it's available. So if we do cake, which is here, we'll grab that one, and let's do a JSON pretty print. I guess we can just use a browser for that, it's fine. Preview. It's actually better for 30, 60, 90 or 30. Oh, this one is in 30, 60, 90 days. Okay. Anyway, so if we open up one of these, the sellout status you can see is false for the 30 day. 60 days is sold out, which should correspond. So when we open up the 60 day one, it says sellout status is true. So going back up, so what we're looking for is we're gonna keep making these API calls, and we're not gonna use a browser. We're gonna use a command line tool called curl to make this call. And we're gonna keep checking the response until one of the projects sell status or sell out property becomes false, at which point we're going to send an email to ourselves. So unlike the last video where I sent a PagerDuty event, this time we'll send an email. Alright, so a few different things in this video. So I think we can just jump into the code at this point. So here's what the code looks like. Oh, before we jump into the code, let me show you. So one of the nice things about API based screen scraping is whenever you see this API right here like this, you can just get a copy and reproduce this using curl. So you can select any one of these commands or any one of those API calls that the browser made, and then say, I want to reproduce this using curl. And you can see some of these other tools like node fetch or fetch, but we're going to use curl. So curl is a command line tool, so you can just run this thing anywhere. So from a command prompt. This is a Mac, by the way. So Mac uses bash or shell scripting. It's a Linux like shell scripting. So if we just paste this into the shell prompt, we're going to run that curl command. Where is the curl command? It looks a little weird, but let's see what happens. Yep, so that worked. So it responded, it went to Binance from the command prompt using curl and fetched this response, which is the same one that we saw in the browser. Alright, so we're going to automate this. And here it is. So I made it into a function so that you can supply the coin name, makes it easy. And so we're going to substitute the coin name in that asset field. So where did I get that? So I just, you notice like, if you look at the header, you'll see well, it's right there too, but asset equals whatever the coin name is. So I'm going to replace whatever that coin name is with a variable, which is what I did in the script. So in Bash, you don't name a variable when you get a variable in a function. It's always just index based, which is kind of weird, but so there's only one variable, so it's $1. And in this case, you can see I'm doing a poll coin. I'm calling that function with argument of cake. So it's saying poll for cake, and then if it doesn't find anything, sleep again for 3 seconds, or sleep for 3 seconds, and then loop forever. Now, so as you saw, the response for this curl message is fairly large. So the next challenge is, how do we extract those sell out fields? And for that, we're going to use another command, a command line tool called JQ, short for JSON query, I believe. So JSON query is pretty simple, but it does have some interesting, more complicated options, like being able to do logic in there for selection and things like that, but we don't need to do that. All we want to do is filter out all this mess of a JSON down to just the sellout values. So how do we do that? So first, let's go to the browser again, and we prettified it. So let's grab that prettified version of a JSON. We're just going to paste that JSON here. And this tool, JQ play.org. It's some website that's got this nice query testing or filter JSON query filtering. All right, so how do we use this? So I always start by a period, at which point it's saying like, give me everything at the topmost level. And so here it is. It's giving you the same thing that's over here. Now I'm only interested in this data field. You see this? Because data field has the part that we'll need. So if you collapse this, you'll see data has everything. So data is an array. You can see by this thing here. So we want to say data array, and then it's going to show you all of the items in that array, of which we want to get the projects, because within projects you'll see it has the 3 like 30, 60, 90 projects. That's what they refer to by this. So projects, which is again an array, by the way. So if you do just projects, you'll see that it's an array. So we want to go into the array. And so when we go into the array, we should now be able to see the sellout field. So that's exactly what we want. Now we can extract the sellout. So if we say dot sellout, and boom, now we got the 3 trues, meaning for what is this coin, ERN, all of the staking options are sold out, or sell out is true. So that's great. So now the goal is we can now filter this thing out down to just the values we're looking for, and then we want to test that or compare that and to see if it has any false in this response. Because any false in one of these fields means there's a slot open for that coin for you to stake. Okay, so now we know how to do jQuery. So let's go back to the Visual Code so you can see how I built that query. So this curl command is executed, which generates a huge JSON output, which is piped to, you see this vertical pipe, to this jQuery command using this filter. And the end result of that is the true or whatever the output is for those sellout values. And you can see that this whole thing is going to be, so the output of that jQuery command is now going to get saved to this output variable, just a local variable. And I just echo it out, so for debugging I get to see what that value is. Now we have a logic statement here which says if the output has any false string in it, then we're gonna do some notification. So this is the notification section. If there isn't one, we're gonna just return, and when we return we're gonna do the sleep and loop. So let's walk through notification now. So now we know how to get the JSON response, parse out the values that we're interested in, compare or check the values for what we're looking for to be the kind of like let's take action state, which is if there's any false in that output. So now the last part is how do we send a notification? So in order to send a notification, I decided to use Gmail this time. So rather than PagerDuty, because it's just easier. Although the notification itself is not as alarming, so you may miss the notification. So you want to make sure, like in the Gmail case, make sure like your phone is not on silence, and I don't know, if you could raise a priority of like yourself sending an email to yourself or something like that, so that it's more important. But So there are a few things that you could do to raise the priority on this. Alright, so this is what it looks like for sending email to yourself, in this case, using curl. So we're using curl again to send email. I'll post the kind of the Google's document on how I derive this, or on how I derive this password. So this password is a kind of like an API key or API token, if you will, for getting access to your Gmail account from programs like this. So this is actually a security issue, so you don't want to put something like this on GitHub or something like that. But I disabled this already. Anyway, so the way it works is curl, blah blah blah, the SMTP, this is the Gmail sendmail address. This is the user and my password. This is not my real password, but whatever. And then the content of the mail. So I don't know why they keep it separate, like why they couldn't add it to the command, but you need a separate file for defining what that email looks like. And that's it. So test this out, make sure it sends email, and then that's it. So if you run it, it should fetch the it tries to send an email. Login denied because I removed that password already. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I will post the details on how to generate your password for sending Gmail to yourself if you have a Gmail account. I'm assuming you can do the same if you have like Hotmail or whatever else. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.